And welcome to the Real Super Geeks. If you're here, you're in the right place. We are launching on our new channel, which should actually keep the video this time um, correctly, hopefully. Uh, we are waiting for our host who is putting together a chest of drawers. That's not exactly what we think is happening. We would actually think this is
No, you're a
happening.
liar!
Oh, whoops. That's the wrong button. We actually think this is happening.
Little Billy Ocean.
While we wait on him to come, we're just going to sit here and shoot the shit. And because we don't want, I mean, we got the Picard finale, which it's all right. And then we have Strange New Worlds, which was fucking awesome.
Just I think I got this. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Real Super Geeks. So we are without our host with the most Ross at the moment because he's getting the most out of something. But tonight we'll be discussing the Picard finale, the the Strange New Worlds premiere. Hopefully, talk about Moon Knight or Halo. We have a few other topics on the board. But in the meantime, we're going to be just doing our pre-show, having some fun with just three guys in a show, not to be confused with our other show, two guys in one show. Um,
And that would
but
be
we have
waiting on Ross.
we have Raul the Bowel with us. Raul, how you been this week?
I'm good. I'm good. Sad to learn that one of my favorite comic book artists, George Perez, passed. Legendary man, writer, artist, creator. Joy to the fans. Just lived life, loved life, gave so much back to the community. We're praying for his family. Even though he apparently had a very peaceful death and was well loved at the end, it's still a blow to us.
All right. Thank you, Raul, for
Vanity
that.
of vanities, saith the preacher. Vanity of vanities is all vanities. What profit hath the man of all his labor, which he takes under? Oh, goddamn it, Carlos.
We're just reading a message from our chat. Justin, how was your week?
Pretty good so far. See, I got a new setup kind of mostly done. Got the lights up. I still have a whole nother roll to put up. Don't know what I'm going to do with them right now, but I will figure it out within the week to come. Got my new microphone. Sorry for the whine that comes in the background. I have a fan going, and for some reason it picks it up rather well. I've got my noise cancellation up all the way. It's all I can do right now.
Okay, that's all right. Justin, glad you're doing good. Hey, Ross. Oh, wait, Ross isn't here. So,
Aw,
He's building
as
a
for me,
vanity.
Ross is building a vanity. As for me, my week was pretty good. It was my last week of the semester for spring. So I passed my classes. What a surprise! I am 1 year away from graduating, so I'm almost there.
welcome to the student loan debt.
Oh God, right? Um,
I'm down to less than $1,000 to pay it off, and I am going to be
nice.
so fucking happy when that's done and said with because I mean they've had it on hold for what a year now, just paying off the debt. They won't even let you make payments.
As Raul mentioned, one of his favorite people passing away, one of the Star Trek family lost a character actor, Mike Haggerty. He was also known as Mr. Trigger, I believe, on Friends. Mike Haggerty played Captain Karg in Star Trek TNG, a Klingon, and
Hmm.
also played a villager. I forget his name, but played a villager in Know Thyself in Star Trek TNG. I'm more aptly known as the guy who stabbed Data in that episode. But very well
Oh, the
loved
head
character actor.
butter.
Yes,
Hmm.
he as I believe I according to reports he did pass away peacefully as well at the age of 68. Um,
Hello there.
Bledsoe, how's it going? Hope you're having a good
It's
break.
Brenda.
Oh, it's Brenda. Hi, Brenda. So there we go. So on the docket for tonight, everybody. So we do have our reviews. So we're going to try to get two of many as we can, but our big ones are going to be the Picard finale, episode 10, Farewell. A lot of departures, a lot of bringing back. This episode was ended really well for season two. Halo, episode 7, Inheritance. Not one of my favorite ones this season. We'll probably discuss and see how that goes. We may put this on the back burner. Strange New Worlds premiered to bring Star Trek back. This is Trek in one of its purest forms. It was a very well done premiere. And of course, Moon Knight ended on the trippiest of all the Marvel TV shows out right now. Moon Knight ended on the trippiest one. It
Oh
gave
my
fans what they
fucking god!
wanted. It so I'll hopefully talk about that. Some fun things while we're still waiting for our illustrious host Ross. Uh, Doctor Strange 2, a massive spoiler incoming. Bruce Campbell cameos. No surprise there. Sam Raimi directed Doctor Strange 2. Bruce Campbell confirmed on his Twitter last night that he will be doing a cameo in Doctor Strange. No surprise there. He didn't reveal who he's playing, but come on, it's Bruce Campbell. You know it's gonna be some guy with a smart ass remark somewhere
And a huge chin.
and a huge chin. um,
A
our next
very
one,
prominent chin.
our next fun topic is oh behave. Mike Myers goes on to tease a possible Austin Powers 4. Now this has been teased
Oh,
since Gold member. Direct quote from Austin Powers: "I can neither confirm nor deny the existence or non-existence of such a project, should it exist or not. That's not." He goes on to say, "That's not a non-confirmed confirmation. Confirmation." This would lead us to believe that he is possibly working on a script or has one done and is looking for studios to make Austin Powers 4. Personally, I would look forward to it. My favorite one being Gold member, but a trilogy of funny movies nonetheless.
let's see what.
And go ahead.
Let's see here. Also, later on this month, Chippendale Rescue Rangers comes out on Disney Plus.
Disney likes to ruin things.
Obi Wan Kenobi also
Yes,
comes out on Disney Plus.
in what 2 weeks plus so 3 weeks,
Yeah, 2 weeks.
3 weeks. Sorry, 3 weeks, 2 weeks, and like 6 days. Obi-Wan Kenobi will be premiering May 27th, and there was a push. Now it did push from 25th to 27th, but as of the 27th, they will be premiering the first 2 episodes of the 6 episode event.
Nice.
It is for those who are going to ask, it is a limited one and done series, 6 episodes, and that's it. It is going to bridge the gap between Revenge of the Sith and Star Wars: A New Hope. Leia coming into my chat going cha 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 Chippendale Rescue
Oh,
Rangers. But so yeah, definitely look forward to that. And also right here, so a couple of fun gaming topics. And both these gaming topics revolve around Legend of Zelda. In the first one, we have Cody Rhodes and Stone Cold Steve Austin decide to do a 30-second round off of hot shot questions. Basically, it's like Steve Austin has some questions. Cody Rhodes his has to give his best answer. Cody, first question off the bat was best Zelda game. Cody Rhodes, Ocarina of Time. Stone Cold counters, nah, man, Breath of the Wild, and they both were like, wait, what?
oh,
Um, it's no secret Cody Rhodes is a diehard Legend of Zelda fan. Leia informed me that Cody Rhodes every year on his birthday plays Ocarina of Time from beginning to end. So he's a diehard Legend of Zelda fan. The second Legend of Zelda topic, and this one this one will actually give us a few minutes because I want to talk about this overall subject.
well, we
Um,
barely got the time.
yeah. So this one right here, I want to talk about. It's a hardcore gaming topic. Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time is barely being inducted into the Video Game Hall of Fame. I say barely because it is a very elongated process to get a video game in the Hall of Fame. But this is too long, too late. Now, granted, it's long overdue, but it makes me wonder. And this is where Raul and Justin come in. The Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time made the Hall of Fame, but there are games that came out after it and got in before it. So why they took so long for Ocarina of Time, I don't know why. But
It's
Raul,
turned
what's your
into
take on
a cult
something like this with a video
classic.
game taking its time to be inducted like this?
It's because it's turned into a cult classic and it's held its popularity over time and even grown it.
And of course, among the other games inducted real quick was Dance Dance Revolution, and Miss Pac-Man joins Pac-Man in the Video Game Hall of Fame.
About
Justin, do you have any
time.
thoughts on this one?
I didn't really follow it, but I mean, not my personal choices. But hey, whatever.
This one just bewilders me a bit because Ocarina of Time is very, very widely regarded as a top 5 video game of all time of any console, and Ocarina of Time often in a lot of places takes number 1 spots. So it just was a little confusing me why it gets into the Hall of Fame with Miss Pac-Man and Dance Revolution, but
Oh,
Animal Crossing made it beforehand. I'm like, what? Like GameCube games, PS3 games made it all before this. I'm like, no. So it's a bit of, to me, it was like, shouldn't have taken that long, but it did. Um, but it nonetheless, it is an inductee for this year and will be enshrined forever. My next one I would love to see inducted is Majora's Mask, but I don't know if that will happen going forward. Any games you guys know that I don't know what games are particularly in there that wouldn't already be in there, but one I know like going forward would be Breath of the Wild. You guys have any wishes for a game going in there?
like everything's pretty much already in there that I cared about as a kid.
Same.
But so nothing really more to add to it.
Fair enough. So, being we're still waiting for our illustrious host
God
Ross,
damn it, Ross!
we were going to give him 15 minutes. We're 15 minutes into our show.
13 minutes. Well, it's
13
11 by the timer, and yeah, 11 by the timer. So he's still got a few minutes here.
So okay, so for our
To our
viewers,
illustrious
if our
co-producer,
viewers would
Carlos
love to in our chats. Oh, sorry, Ro, go ahead.
not to mention our illustrious co-producer, Carlos Pedraza, is going to grace us with his presence, but he's at a buffet, so we'll
Yes,
never.
he
Oh, okay. So
Carlos.
he's eating Italian, which is almost as bad.
Yes,
I mean,
Carlos.
so much.
Carlos had intended to join us, but he got his times mixed up, so he's currently eating dinner.
Which is fine because last time he joined us, he was literally feeding his face during the show. So,
Yes, he was. So for our
Carlos is
viewers, if
back.
anybody
Hashtag.
wants to take, if anybody wants to take a guess in our chat, so Jessica put up on our screen, how long is Ross going to take? Starting from right now, we're going to be at 15 minutes here in just a second total, but 12 minutes into our show. Any guesses how much longer Ross is going to take before we see him
And
pop
how
up?
much Carlos will gain in weight. That's always fun for Carlos to read.
Oh,
For
oh,
Carlos, you're going to have to use triple digits.
Well, you're definitely going to have to use trigonometry. I'm just warning you all right now.
Okay, Leia is coming in with a guess. Leia's coming in with 27 minutes late. Oh man, Justin will stab somebody if Ross is not late. Okay, so
I
Raul,
literally put in our chat. It's like we're taking bets on how long you're going to be, Ross. See if that gives him an initiative. It'll either give him initiative or make him like.
okay, we'll go into this route. Raul, we'll start with you. Do you plan on going to see Doctor Strange 2 in theaters, or are you going to wait for it?
I'm going to wait for it to come because I just don't like theaters anymore. Um, I used
Same.
to go see movies with my mother, and ever since she passed, it'll be very odd to see movies alone. To be completely honest,
I just wait.
Okay,
I mean, I with me and everything, I will probably wait until it comes out on I think it's going to be on HBO Max in 45 days.
but no, Doctor Strange is the Marvel movie.
Oh, Disney. Well, it'll probably be about the same time because Disney usually pushes it pretty quick too. So
Shang-Chi took what, 3 months?
about
We'll see
45 days.
we'll see what Disney does because this is strictly theater only. Um, I intend to go see it in theaters. Leia and I want to go see it in theaters. We're not going to take our kid for this one. We took him for Sonic, but we definitely know he's not going to sit through Doctor Strange. But
Yeah, I've heard it's very dark.
yeah,
and
it's
see,
Sam Raimi, and they hired him to be the horror director of
exactly. So, and that's a complaint I've been hearing. So of course I've been getting glowing reviews, but the couple negative ones I've read, they're like, "Oh, it was dark. I didn't expect this." I'm like, "What do the words Sam Raimi mean to you?"
it.
We
Probably
knew
means
this.
Spider-Man to most people because
Okay, fair. Okay, that's fair, Raul. For us who have been no Sam Raimi, Evil Dead. It's like, come
Evil
on.
Dead for sure.
Um, but it's like they hire Sam Raimi when I heard them announce Sam Raimi, I was like, it's gonna have a horror aspect to it. It's gonna be very very dark. Let's see. Hold on.
I've heard medium reviews. Like half people are not so impressed. People didn't like the direction, but that's fine. That's just a taste. People have to realize that movies can exist outside of their paradigm without being judged good or bad.
Right. Raul, just I think you guys are old enough to get this one, and I heard Leia laugh. She goes, "If Xena doesn't show, I'll riot."
For what now? Xena. What
If
was
Xena
Xena
doesn't
show?
show, Raul
Oh,
got it. Raul got it.
terrible, terrible.
Damn
She's
it,
yep.
Leia. Come on.
She's laughing so hard right now. I can hear her 2 rooms over.
God damn it, Leia. I'd say if he smacked Greg, but then it's really not
I
his
like it.
fault.
I like it too. So.
Okay. Another movie that'll be coming out here soon will be Top Gun Maverick. I'm gonna go see that one. But let's talk about this part. Let's go keep it in nerd culture. I did not know I needed a jacked Natalie Portman in my life, and today we got a picture from Empire Magazine. Good Lord, Natalie. Uh, They're like, oh, that's things
Calm
to the gun
down.
show. I was like,
Calm
I'm
down.
like, Natalie Portman is the gun show.
She's the gun
Calm
show.
down. Calm down. Calm down. Calm down, Greg.
I'm just saying. I saw
Calm down.
Chris, and Chris is a good-looking guy. I think it was Elizabeth Olsen and Benedict Cumberbatch were interviewed, and they said that Hemsworth is the best-looking man in the MCU. He's
Well,
a
now that he's
godly
lost that,
man.
now that he's no longer Fat Thor. I mean, yeah.
Exactly, and lay in my chat. It's all when I saw Natalie Portman, I'm like, Chris who? So I did not know I needed a Jack Natalie Portman in my life. It's like when I saw Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman, I was like, yes, now Natalie Portman is Lady Thor. Hell yeah.
Now we're past the 15-minute mark.
Yep, we're definitely past the 15-minute mark. So Leia said 27 total. We're getting there. But to any of our viewers, if you guys have something you want us to talk about, ask an opinion of us, hell, throw it in the chat. Let Justin put it up on our screen. We'll talk about it if we know anything
Well, if
about
they
it.
throw it in the chat, they have to be in our Twitch chat because yours does not show up.
If you're watching my Twitch, pop a message in. I can let us know what we want to do. If you're also on Twitch, you're in the right place for Mongoose Gaming. For Justin, you should be in the right place also for twitch.tv/TheRealSuperGeeks. Please give us a follow there. We're hoping to make affiliate status, and once we make affiliate status, we can do some real fun stuff, guys. So the goal
Like
there is
upgrades, lots of upgrades.
our goal there is to reach 50 followers and a little bit of work, and we can get there. Justin,
Eventually, what I would love to do is be able to get it up there to where we can get affiliated, so everything will start paying for itself. That is my goal for this podcast.
Throw me the link for the Real Super Geek Twitch in, and I can post it in my chat. I've had a couple people asking.
Hold on.
And then Justin right here, our producer, he will be using it to game. He'll be starting to game a few other some new stuff going forward, so to build our followership.
And I put that in the main chat.
Okay, cool. There it is.
I made it super simple.
There we go. And it is in my Twitch chat, so if you guys are watching, make sure to click there. Where I put myself, because my Streamlabs bot is doing work, but look for my message.
Yeah, I don't have a bot in the channel yet. I need to add one, and I'll probably do Stream Elements instead of Streamlabs.
I do Streamlabs. It's been doing fine for me. I ditched Nightbot. Nightbot was pissing me off.
Yeah, I with Streamlabs bot, I did the same thing. It was pissing me off, so I blocked it.
Well, let's see, we're about to be at 19 minutes, so 8 more minutes, and Leia will be right.
Now he's not even looking at the thing anymore.
No,
and now I know we were right. So I'm going to say I have come to save the day. Oh dear.
I've come to save the day.
What do you mean by well, I mean, this is getting kind of awkward because now Raul's gone and still no Ross.
Raul had to go to the little bowel room to relieve himself. Watch Stargate. It's fun. But this is where, for people watching my Twitch, I have made affiliate status, so you can actually redeem certain channel points for my channel.
And whenever this one gets affiliated, we're also going to be doing redeems, and it will be for the entire cast.
Yes.
Have to do instead of just one channel, we were going to make it for everybody to have to do it. So, if
As
you want
part
to
of
see
my
Raul do squats,
hmm
then you're going to be in for a show.
yeah, as part of my channel, my redeems range from things like drink water to eating hot sauce. While we won't go as hard as hot sauce on the Twitch channel for the Super
Please
Geeks, we will
no,
be doing some fun stuff.
please no, because I don't want to.
Like we'll have a redeem that says mute Justin for 5 minutes, and then we don't have to hear
Oh,
Justin for 5 minutes.
we'll also have a redeem saying kick Greg out for the
Yep, there you
remainder of
go.
the
Kick
show.
Greg out. We'll have another one where I actually make Raul speak for 5 minutes, and that'll be fun.
Not for anybody.
Oh lordy, but yeah. So Ross is still not here, and it's almost time for Leah to win on this one. It looks like.
Yeah, we're 20
Yeah,
minutes into the show.
I mean, I called it. I mean, it's the same thing that happened before. Like, I'll be right there. I'm like, yes, Ross. I hope you're listening. We are picking on you relentlessly, and wait till you get here.
I just I just actually messaged Ross everybody, and I told him in our chat like the awkward factor is starting to set in.
Well, it'd be awkward if Carlos was here feeding his face. So I mean, it's not so bad.
Well, he's trying to fit
Okay,
through
here,
the
you know what,
door.
Raul,
So,
you saw last week's episode of Moon Knight, right? You didn't see the finale, but you saw last
yes,
week.
I saw
Oh
him.
yeah. Did we not cover it last week?
We did not. We pushed it.
All right, let's cover last week's episode of Moon
All
Knight
right,
while we're
Raul,
waiting for
since
Ross
you're
to
the
share.
biggest fan of Moon Knight among us,
Okay.
fun for Justin on that one. Give us your thoughts on last week's episode.
Well, I actually think it was one of the better single episodes of the series,
It
and
was.
probably one of the strongest of all single episodes in these series based presentations of the heroes. Because not only did it show the acting chops of nearly everyone involved in
Mhm.
the show, it really gave you a sense of depth that was bigger than the show was initially. That they were completely out of their element, and I really the weirdness factor way high. I'm sure that this episode that came up afterwards, they turned it up even higher because
Sorry,
you never
Raul, real quick,
saw
just
the
the
bang.
trip factor.
Yeah,
Most definitely, because I mean, you had to check something real quick. Yeah, I mean, it was definitely trippy, but they did leave it open ended because pretty much prove my point. If they do season two without the main, the guy that played it
That's what
this season,
we're talking about last week, Asylum, not Gods and Monsters.
yeah, but then they body swapped last week too.
Um,
No, they were
no,
talking about it. Okay,
they separated.
yeah,
Steven sacrificed himself, and Mark went to the field of reeds.
all right.
So,
So, yeah, I had to think which episode we were on there for a minute. Shit. But
as
yeah,
for me, oh, go ahead, Justin.
but yeah, I mean, it was an enjoyable, awkward turtle swimming through. God damn it, Leah.
What happened? What'd she do? Awkward turtles.
aren't turtles
Uh,
just awkward naturally, little Leia? To be honest,
I mean, you're awkward, so I mean,
I'm no turtle. That's Mitch McConnell.
oh, oh,
Oh
no, oh, I thought he was Palpatine.
No, no.
no, he's not that good.
Oh lordy, going to hell for that one for sure. But anyways, yeah, it was a good episode. I enjoyed it. But that's one thing about Moon Knight. It didn't really have the slow filler episodes that some of the other shows have. Everything
Right.
it was paced perfectly, and I know they're saying right at the moment they're not doing it season two, but they're talking about it with a different lead actor. I really hope they do because it would be a fun ride.
Well, on that one, before I talk about this episode 5 with Asylum, Mohammed Adib, I believe is his name, the director of most of those episodes.
Mm,
There are no talks to do a season 2. However, Oscar Isaac has reversed his course. He is open to returning to the character. However, Mohammed did state there are plans to bring Mark back in Marvel movies, so he may not get a season 2, but he may pull a Hulk and pop up in various movies.
Well,
Yeah.
to be
Um,
honest, the future of him, if they plan to develop a West Coast Avengers storyline in this phase two, then he would fit perfectly because he was a part of the West Coast Avengers in the comics.
and that brings Kevin Feige's point. Kevin Feige said there will be no more Avengers movies. Yeah, Endgame was the last Avengers movie, so going forward, the Avengers name will not be used again. Um,
Which makes sense because Avengers was
right.
its own thing. That would be like,
Um,
Star Trek,
for
Star Trek not having anything underneath it.
for Asylum, I wanted to talk about is what Asylum did for people with depression, people with identity disorder. Is that Steven was created by Mark to help him cope with his abusive upbringing with his mother and then her
Right.
passing. Um, and Raul, I know this will be a touchy subject because I know your mother has passed away.
It's fun.
Or, um, but it really brings to light the kind of depression can hit somebody to then
Oh,
have a split
absolutely.
personality.
But yeah, I
Um,
mean, Moon Knight has always been the character to represent the mentally challenged in the Marvel universe,
yes.
and this storyline was perfect to kind of highlight that, and to highlight the difficulties and the sheer insurmountability of people with depression, multiple personalities, schizophrenia. It's difficult. It's a difficult process.
And I say this with a grain of salt. The fun part of the episode was watching Steve and Mark go through the asylum. Basically, their heads cut off. Like, okay, we have to balance our hearts. What do we do? And watching them go through it. And I'm sorry, but Talweret was amazing. The actress voicing her, that was great. I just love how she's like, "Hi," and scares the crap out of him at the end of the episode 4. Um, but it's for somebody like Leia. Leia's an archaeologist, and her main focus was Egyptian mythology. And so with them bringing the Moon Knight, of course, being Egyptian and the hardcore references, it was amazing to see how they gave us the Field of Reeds, or how they gave us that, if your hearts become imbalanced, you're going to Anubis. It's like there's no middle road here. It was really well done how they handled their afterlife and answered an age-old Marvel question: is the afterlife same for everybody? To where it says this is just one plane of the afterlife. And I feel that really helped out with Marvel properties going forward. Like, by the way, you're in the Egyptian afterlife. You get to choose between going to the Field of Reeves or Duat and face Anubis. And then, of course, that's what helps answer questions like, okay, what happened with Thanos? What happened with Shang Chi? Like with his mother's passing, so on. So I felt it did a really good job with that. Um, yeah, it was really great. Steven's sacrifice is one I didn't see coming, and it really hurt for that moment because a review I read said something I didn't know I needed to say. I was like, It says I was not ready to say layers, gators to Steven. I'm like, oh, ow. So it was really great. Now we have personally, I have seen the season finale Moon Knight. Raul has not, but knowing how much we've heard Raul talk about Moon Knight, how much he loves the series, we know Raul is going to love the season finale.
Oh yeah, he
Um,
will. He will. He'll be gushing and chat like, I want to go on here right now.
and into the segue of the afterlife, Ross is 28 minutes and 48 seconds late. Yep, there it is. So Ross has already exceeded Leia's guess of 27 minutes. So Ross is either fighting with Taweret himself, whether to go face Osiris or Anubis. Oh man.
Well, I mean, we all know what he's fighting, but I don't think it's Anubis.
Oh man. Ah, this
Heck,
this is
this is awkward.
this is see, now we've gone into awkward territory. We got our thoughts on Moon Knight. Um, we talked about Halo last week. We talked about Picard, and I mean, our big one tonight was we wanted to talk about Strange New Worlds and Picard, and we can't because Ross is not here. So it's like, thank you.
you know what? Fuck it. Let's go ahead. Let's start it. Let's start talking about
Oh,
Strange New Worlds. I'm
oh,
done waiting.
all right. Strange
I'm
New
done
World.
waiting. I'm sorry. We can't just hold the show for 20 minutes to an hour. We just gotta go. We gotta go. Gotta
Okay,
go. Gotta go.
so for Strange New Worlds, we have as what I a quick recap. This won't be like in order, but it's a quick recap. So we have Stardate 1739.12. We come up for oh wow, Brenda says 45 minutes. Um, we come across Pike in his Montana home. My buddy Zion Ross, where are you? Um, we come across Pike in his reclusive Montana home in the winter. And I have to ask myself, is it a requirement of captains of the Starship Enterprise to own and ride horses? Pike, Kirk, and Picard all ride horses. We don't know about Harriman or Captain Garrett on the Enterprise B and C. But so I like to think it was a fun joke that captains of the Enterprise are required to own and ride horses. Um, Pike is broken at the beginning of this episode because he's still reeling from the events of Discovery, which we see him discuss with his female partner that he cannot discuss, even though his friend, this captain friend of his, has higher clearance. She can't find out what's going on. Um, he would love, of course, the running joke in this episode is he should really answer his communicator because as he's riding his horse through the snowfield, April drops a shuttle right in front of him, scares the crap out of his horse. Pulls the whole speech. I need you. I don't want to go. No, I really need you. No, I don't really want to go. Throws a pad at him and says, okay, Una's gone. So that's how you get Pike back in the captain's chair. He tells him Una has been captured by a pre-warp civilization with warp technology, more specifically an antimatter matter bomb. This goes on to figure out how do they have this because it was initially detected as a form of warp propulsion. Oh, we need to go make first contact. So they go. So Pike gets the Enterprise crew ready to go. He has his new acting first officer, Laan Noonien Singh, quickly becoming one of our new favorite characters in Strange New Worlds. We have Ethan Peck reprising his role as Mr. Spock. We also have a very young Uhura, Cadet Uhura, played very well. Um, but we get to the planet, and of course, there's no communication. They beam down. They find Una
Uh,
and the rest of the crew. Oh,
After they get fired on,
after they are fired upon by plasma torpedoes, which
and we see our
Laan,
first Sladen class starship in the
yes,
TOS
the
era
USS
universe.
Archer.
Yay!
Um,
What a
after
suck
the
it,
ship is fired
Carlos.
upon, they go down to the surface. They do find Una after some medical surgery to get them looking like the population. And then, of course, they find out what happened is the reason why they have a matter antimatter bomb is because that this planet had telescopes that were capable of seeing what happened with Discovery. Um, so what happened is the planet reverse engineered their studies of what happened and built a bomb that was to be used in their war between the two major governments.
Mm-hmm.
Pike then finds this out and basically says, as Raul stated earlier, screw
Oh,
protocol.
oh yeah, you forgot about Spock getting engaged.
Oh no, we'll
Yeah,
get there.
that happened
I
before all this is.
I know it did happen before all this, but this is the meat of the episode. Pike screws protocol. He beams down in the middle of a debate between the two presidents, if you will, and tells them, "You guys are not so different from us." He has the Enterprise show the planet what happened to Earth in its more or less the United States with its second Civil War and the Third World War. We see
After
Paris getting
after dropping the Enterprise into low orbit for all
Justin
to see.
trying to, but Pike tells him like you're not so different from us. Shows Paris being obliterated. Shows another city being obliterated by nuclear bombs. Telling him that we lost 30% of our population to the Third World War, and he delivers a speech that would make Picard proud to these two presidents and tells them, "What is your choice?" Um, the episode ends very well in the fact that the two factions come together to acknowledge, okay, we can't annihilate each other with this bomb. And as we get to more along the crew of we get a we had a running joke in the episode we heard the name Kirk 3 times. And at the end of the episode, Lieutenant George Samuel Kirk Jr. appears on the bridge, mustache and all. And that's pretty much going to be the end of the episode. We have back to our episodic form of Trek. Now, a couple of things I will say, because what I'm about to say is going to make Justin kick me out of the show. So I have to get this off my chest now. Justin, this First Contact episode was very reminiscent of something. First Contact gone wrong, people arrested and imprisoned. Oh, they got that from the Orville.
No. Thank you. Oh.
Now you can kind of rest easy. All right. Never.
Oh man, I
again.
had been holding that joke since I saw the episode. I was like, I have to hold this for just because the exact same scenario happened in the Orville. First,
You mentioned it again. I don't know.
Every time you mention Orville, you get muted.
okay. Anyway, so a couple. That was the joke. We did mention, Justin did. Spock is engaged. Well, yeah,
And it
he's
has a
technically
tattoo.
engaged. So Spock is engaged to T'Pring.
And apparently has a leg tattoo.
I also love. Okay, Vulcans are very control their emotions. I love the sass she gives Pike. She doesn't call him captain or anything. She just, Chris, you're interrupting something. It's like, damn.
Well, I mean, I think you figured that out as soon as you saw Spock half naked. But yeah,
But I just loved it though. The sass from her. You don't get sass from a Vulcan. But there you go. So that's our recap. Raul, we'll start with you because you did see it. What did you think of Strange New Worlds, the episode title?
I thought it was a pretty. It started off a little slow to me, to be completely honest. But
Okay.
I understand they had to do a lot of setup in this episode, and but I really think that towards the end it shows the best qualities of this show and what it's going to be. The captain leading from the front. I called this before. He's going to be the best captain we've ever seen on the shows.
Kick Raul.
Greg, you shouldn't talk after the Orville reference. You really shouldn't.
oh,
He said Orville. He said Orville.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
said
but-
it.
Go ahead. Go
but
ahead,
he said
Raul.
it as in spite to you, so it's perfectly allowed. Continue.
So, and I'd also like to point out that he didn't just show World War III. He showed our Civil War that is possibly on the horizon, and I thought that was pretty a bold choice to talk about that and show footage of our recent problems, and not take a side, much like our friend Jason. Said earlier in our chats, he did not take a side. He simply said
Right.
that people were fighting for what they believed in.
If
And
there's anybody to
much
remain neutral,
like-
Pike. Sorry, Rob.
much-
If there's anybody to remain neutral, Pike remain neutral.
yeah, Pike remained neutral. Now, my feelings on this is that Pike is beyond this because it's much like us talking about the first Civil War. Hindsight is 2020, and you can take a bigger approach. The people living through that.
It's a man. It's the myth.
Uh-oh.
It's the legend. It's
No.
Ross.
It's Ross.
Of
Wait a
Doom.
minute.
Finally.
Yeah.
There it is.
Yeah, the rage.
If only, Justin. If
Right.
only.
See the rage.
If only that were the case, I'd be much less annoyed. But the fact of the matter is that unassembled furniture kicked our asses tonight, trying to install a vanity from a manufacturer that doesn't really seem to know what it's doing, and sent us pieces that weren't even pre-drilled. I had to drill
So
the holes
IKEA?
myself.
So IKEA.
No, IKEA does much better.
IKEA actually does pre
Well, if only it was IKEA. It would be nice if it was
It
IKEA.
would build itself.
I would have fun trying to mispronounce the name 3 Ways from Sunday. But no, my wife and I were emotionally and physically defeated by furniture.
We'll
Well,
get
Ross,
unemotionally and
Design
We
this
did have
got
Ross-
fired from IKEA because they couldn't make things difficult in IKEA, so they went to somewhere else where this was manufactured and decided, oh, I'm just going to make it just a little bit difficult for Americans.
Oh, God.
That was
Hi,
the
Ray.
best thought we've had on the
They
show.
say hi. They love you.
Well, Ross, since you popped in right here, we're gonna go ahead and let Raul finish up his take on Strange New Worlds.
Sure.
I didn't do a Ross level recap, but I think I did okay. Raul is gonna give his review of it.
All right, I'm looking forward to hearing it.
doing a fucking Orville reference.
Oh,
And I removed him from the
Thank you.
chat because of it.
stop. The Accursed show will not be mentioned.
Yes,
Go ahead, Raul.
they got a good laugh, and they're very supportive.
Yes.
Yes.
This way I'm going to find the bish.
But next time,
There's
like,
a
go
golden
to husband so we can have him a little.
Yep. It's a German coin.
No, thank you.
Okay, so the thing that I found most interesting is how similar their society was, somewhat like our America at this point,
Mhm.
giving up security, giving up their freedoms for security purposes. I thought that was a kind of an understated point, that the more aggressive society, the one that had the bomb, was also kind of eroding their freedoms, and that is very pointed, because once a side takes a side and they decide to do hostile intentions towards another side in history, they usually erode the rights of their citizens.
Okay. Well, thank you for that, Raul. Justin, what did you
Yes.
think of that? What did you think of Strange New Worlds episode
Holy
Strange New Worlds?
shit. Amazing. I mean, Pike calling the Enterprise down for everybody to see. It was phenomenal. The CG is really top notch in this, and we actually got to see the TOS Enterprise engineering. Did anyone miss that? We saw the engineering, like an actual warp core, and not what we are used to seeing. So,
Right.
yeah, it was great. One thing I do hope, I really hope that we're not going to have Pike second guessing himself all season. I hope.
don't think so.
I mean, it's like everywhere he was looking, he was seeing what happened in the future. I'm like, I really hope that's not going to be status quo going forward. That would kind of kill the episodic vibe that they're supposed to be, aiming for here. But that aside, let's see here. Spock and the Kring. Holy shit! I hope we get to see more of them. Spock has a tattoo on his leg. I don't know if anyone missed that.
I saw it.
I don't know if that's a Spock thing or an Ethan thing, but it was very noticeable. Let's see here. What else? And Mega Chapel. I mean,
Mhm.
they actually did a really good job assembling the cast for this one. It felt like old school Star Trek with something new. Let's see. There's a whole simple. I loved how they showed Earth's past, as a way to show them what could go wrong if they continue down the path. That was well done. I hope other people take note on that, because that could happen with us very easily. Other than that, yeah, I mean, the whole episode is great. All the people screaming about Kirk, and then it turned up to be Samuel Kirk. Haha. And it's, if you follow the books, he was on the Enterprise and the Farragut, I do believe. So we will get to see that story kind of go in for fulfillment. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Ross, what did you think?
Oh, just skip me. Cool.
Oh, you can go last. You're fine.
Ross always goes
mentioned
last.
Go ahead, Greg. I'll go last. I got here
Okay,
late
'cause
after all.
I gotta tell
And
Ross
I
my
still
Orville
got to
joke.
talk about Picard.
Yeah, I got to give Ross my Orville joke. Don't
No,
remove me.
no,
Ross has got to
no,
hear this.
No.
Hey, Ross.
Justin, be nice.
or so Ross, first contact goes wrong. The away team is arrested, and everything just and it just ends terribly. Orville had that same episode, I swear. Or first contact goes wrong, they kick him off, they arrest him. Orville had that happen with Kelly's birthday.
Yes, but the difference there is it wasn't based on fucking astrology.
So, for my take on this episode, it
Oh,
was
God damn it! Why am I agreeing with this? Nope. But they saw what happened with Discovery through the telescope, so that's kind of astrology.
And
Nope.
you know what? You know who else has done something like that before? Star Trek.
And
So
Stargate.
Orville got it from somebody else first.
Not to mention Stargate's done it.
So if anything, Strange New Worlds is already riffing on Star Trek.
They're taking a page from the Orville playbook. But
Hide on stream. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
I did love this episode. Strange New Worlds premiere episode from Picard, Disco, and Lower Decks has the best premiere episode of all the new shows.
Hands down. Hands down.
It was getting to hear Pike give the captain's oath, Space the Final Frontier, was very, very well done. Patrick Stewart will always been my favorite, but Anson Mount, I mean, he did it beautifully. The intro is really well done. My favorite character of this show is, of course, Pike. I love Anson Mount, but is La'an, as now Chief Tactical Officer, but she was acting first officer for this episode. She has a very well done back history already ready to go. Una saved her. She had to hide it from the captain. I get why she had to do that.
And you know what else has set this show above the rest? Fucking backstories. We're getting to know the crew right off the bat. It's not just main character and kind of see people in the pepper in the background. We're actually getting to know people bit by bit.
So we got Nurse Chapel, which I know one thing that hurt with Nurse Chapel is not that she didn't do a great job, is that Madgel Barrett didn't live to see this day to see Una and Nurse Chapel become main characters in Trek. Two characters she brought to life. But these women are doing them justice, and I love the show going forward. Ethan Peck, I didn't think he could do it. He goes, fascinating. I swear I heard Leonard Nimoy. As much as I love Zach Quinto, when he said fascinating, I was like, damn, that was on point. These are all just little things that I loved about the episode. The story was really well done. And this is another one. This is another quip before we get to Ross. La'an goes immediately, sir, we should raise shields. And Pike, okay, let's raise shields. And they get blasted with the torpedoes. I feel the writers know their Star Trek. Who constantly, throughout Star Trek, got Jip raising shields? No, tactical analysis. Mr. Worf, every single time would go raise shields.
Kirk, Picard, Janeway.
Right. But Worf was the poster child for no, do not raise shields. La'an, raise shields. Pike, all right, bring him up.
Well, he hesitated at first.
He did, but he was like, okay, cool, do it, and was for good cause. I love the episode. So Ross, you are here to join us. Your thoughts on Strange New Worlds?
What an opening! Now, Strange New Worlds is unique with new shows because it is directly building off of something. There's already background for these characters. Pike, Spock, Una, they all have foundation in Star Trek. Not just with Where No Man Has Gone Before, but The Cage, but also Star Trek Discovery Season 2. We have character development. We have an established relationship with these characters. So that's a lot of development that they don't necessarily need. And the events of Discovery Season 2 carry over. Pike is struggling with the fact that he knows he is going to die. He knows the exact date, time, moment, and feeling, physical and emotional, of essentially dying. and living the rest of his life in absolute pain and misery. He knows it's coming. No wonder he's hiding out in a shack somewhere in the middle of nowhere, getting booty calls from another captain.
With I did like that she had a higher clearance than him, but she still couldn't get anything about Discovery.
Speaking of, did anyone note the star date that popped on the screen at the beginning of the fucking episode?
I didn't.
1739.12.
Yes, they are doing this. I hope that continues on throughout the other episodes. Please, 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 please. If we don't get always the captain's log, we actually got a captain's log too.
We did.
Yes, we did. They're
Go
definitely
ahead,
calling back to more classic elements of Trek.
Take
And
notes,
they're doing it everywhere. Each of the characters' introductions was great. Seeing Spock being intimate was new. The kiss that he and La'an shared, and the waiter, you must. I would ask that you do that somewhere else. Like they'd just been to Pring. Thank you. Like they'd just been making. It wasn't just a kiss to them. It's like they were practically having sex in the restaurant.
Yeah,
compared to Vulcans. But we've seen the engagements. She engaged. She popped the question to him.
I was telling Justin, I love the sass she gave Pike. Justifiable.
Mm-hmm.
But I did not expect a Vulcan to give sass like that.
Oh, Vulcans are very sassy, as Spock has shown eventually.
I actually really dig this version of Spock. I was on the fence too, but he's done a really good job.
And I like this T'Pring. She's so much more than the conniving but logical spurned girlfriend. This is someone who's actually invested in Spock, who wants to be in a relationship with Spock. But Spock being Spock, he keeps everyone kind of at a distance.
Yeah, we see that. Oh my God, Ethan Peck. Ugh. He's doing that really well. He's very much. I thought he would take a different role of it, but he's doing exactly what Zach Quinto did. He is doing Leonard Nimoy justice. It is Leonard, even though it's Ethan Peck, he is doing Leonard Nimoy's Spock. So that's what it is.
I love that when Admiral April showed up, but your number Commander Una doesn't do downtime well. What is Commander Una doing? She's going out and trying to fix the consequences of their last mission while the Enterprise is in dry dock. And it going badly. Commander La'an, excellent introduction. That bit with the Gorn. We're getting some Gorn lore. Being a Gorn fan myself, this makes me very happy. It being very reptilian in nature. Okay. Yeah. They're throwing people to die to younglings. Okay. I guess
if
now.
I may, with that report, when we see Gorn, first contact Gorn, Pike doesn't even read it. If he actually read the pad, that was La'an's story he tells him at the end of the episode, because he was so impatient, he threw the pad down until the end of the episode. Like, by the way, that whole thing was on the pad if he had just read it.
But I guess Gorn or Grick now. If you haven't read Destroyerman, that's a reference.
Which I love how they're taking kind of references from the books here and there on certain things. I mean,
with what they did with Picard, with bringing STO ships into the fold now, I think Strange New Worlds is going to pull heavy from the books.
Oh, absolutely.
Well, absolutely. Well, we already seen that. Like TOS ships, other than the Constitution class, we never got to see anything else.
We got a Saladin class in this episode.
Yeah, Justin brought that up. Yep.
Yeah. I mean,
we got a fucking Saladin class.
Name the Archer. I
never ever expected to see a Saladin class in anything other than a FASA book.
Well, I mean, Carlos will complain about wanting to sell ships, but he can.
All the purists will complain about whatever they want to complain about.
Yeah, it's Carlos.
The fact is, we've seen it. It's canon now.
Yes,
it's there. These kinds of ships exist thanks to the California class in lower decks. This is a lower decks kind of ship right there.
Well, yeah, about being able to operate with 3 people. Yeah,
absolutely.
Well, I mean, 3-4 people were arrested.
What about that dry dock, though? How about that design? That's probably the first time we've ever seen anything like that. In Star
So,
Trek, where you have multiple docks and multiple ships at the same time.
Dr. Mbenga, great
Yes.
characterization. Nurse Chapel, I'm gonna mess with your DNA. What?
Yep. Beautiful. Absolutely
Yeah,
beautiful.
Interesting that they made her a civilian exchange officer. That's interesting.
She'll
That's
probably
going
get
to that's going to lend to her character in a very unique way. I'm interested to see how that turns out, and it would also explain how she just kind of disappeared later on. Hadet Uhura, we didn't get a lot of her this episode, but I'm looking forward to seeing what she does.
We got enough though. I was pleasantly happy. I was happy with what they did with her with this episode.
Yeah. I'm especially glad that they're drawing from the Kelvin characterization from her. Where in TOS, as it was broadcast, it was the 60s. She was just kind of there as a receptionist. Although it's important not to diminish the impact that Nichelle Nichols had in the role as that character.
Right.
But making her this communication wonderkind on the same level as Hoshi Sato is incredibly important, and I'm glad that they're including that.
Yes,
that's all Zoe Saldana and Kelvin Trek. So all you 09 haters can suck it.
They gonna complain. They're gonna complain. I've already been in a few arguments.
Justin, we all know they're going to complain no matter what. It could be the best thing ever.
They're bitching about
and they're gonna complain. It's
let's let
noise.
Ross finish up.
It's noise.
I know.
Ignore the noise. Tune it out. Turn down your signal to noise ratio.
Yeah, but they get so angry. It's funny watching them get so mad when they're
I've
called
got
out.
other things to worry about. I've got furniture to piss me off. I don't need people to.
Anything else to add, Ross, on your?
So much. As you guys said about the planet they visited, it was very reminiscent of the modern day, and that was also very Star Trek. The kind of familiar but unfamiliar, the propaganda going on about unrest, the actual demonstrations going on outside the area, the absolute the seeming chaos of it all amid pockets of civilization. What little we saw was very familiar, but because they had different foreheads, it's not actually us.
Yeah, but
very
that
well
opening, it was that opening. The way they walked through and then they went in there. That was so cool how they did that.
So I'll finish up with a hot take, a favorite hot take of mine from this week.
Oh.
Okay, I saw Strange New Worlds. It's not as woke as STD, but boy, does it commit many of the same sins. Turns Spock into a beta male. Captain Pike needs women to tell him to do something. While it hasn't said it, serious lesbian vibes from the two characters already. Also, it expects me to have watched and know what happened in STD. However, it isn't woke hot garbage yet. It has promise, but I'm sure they'll ruin it. I did like the ship and shuttle designs, kept much of the original series look to it too. So I remain on the fence to see if it will descend into woke garbage like I have expected.
For fuck's sakes.
How many times can you say woke garbage in one paragraph?
Here's the thing, though. Star Trek has been woke since the 60s.
See, that's what these idiots don't understand. They do not comprehend. Star Trek. Can you hear me now? Yeah, there you go.
Oh, no, wait, sorry, that was me.
Anyways, Star Trek has been woke since the 60s, like Greg said. So these idiots, they're crying, don't know what the fuck they're talking about.
Justin, that's why I'm laughing.
Yeah, well.
But yeah, this like I said, as far as premiere episodes of the 4, including Prodigy, I love Prodigy. Of the 4 or 5 new shows, this has the strongest premiere episode. So
yes,
they just keep getting better.
I love this. I love this one. Unlike Disco and Picard, we don't have a prediction for next week because it's episodic. So
that's right.
I love it. I love it. Well, they did say one thing about this show is that they're not going to do like Discovery and other, but they're going to carry a little bit. So like someone dies.
Yes.
That's going to be felt over the next episode. It's not going to be a complete reset of the week like
Yeah. It's not a complete
Voyager,
reset, but
TOS.
you know what's great about it is that they are going to carry themes throughout the season, which is great.
Yes.
That's honestly what we needed a long time ago.
Yes, absolutely.
One thing I really do want to highlight before we move on is Pike himself. We know his core character arc of the series is going to be dealing with the fact that he knows what his fate is going to be to a point.
Ay.
And he hasn't been
Yes.
spoiled that he's going to end up on the Talos. He's not going to end. He doesn't know he's going to end up on Talos 3, but that near death state he's going to end up in. I really like how they addressed that in this episode. Just because he knows he is destined to some fate doesn't mean that he has to stop living between now and then. He has a
Right.
finite amount of time, but then again, we all do. So why not live while you can?
And
I
Pike
thought
has
that was absolutely beautiful.
and Pike has the second best go get it line. Make it so, hit it.
I mean, as someone who suffers from bouts of severe existential dread, I really like how Pike deals with that.
And so that being said, now that Ross is here, everybody, we get the customary Ross recap, and we're going to go into our Star Trek Picard season 2 finale. Ross, take it away.
Whew.
And
Gotta
don't
compose
worry
my
about-
thoughts because usually I'm able to get something ahead of time, but
And-
again, defeated by furniture. So
And by the way, we've already covered like kind of Moon Knight. We're not really going to do Halo this week, so
Yeah, so we can pretty
which
much
is
away.
fine because I haven't watched Halo yet.
yeah. So take it
Well,
away.
let's put it this way: Halo, you skip episode 7 of Halo. Let's start watching Halo. You skip episode 7, you won't miss anything.
Exactly.
Yeah, I've heard it's highly Quan centric.
I almost
But yeah, so we're gonna be able to
5
actually
minutes.
do the rest of this with Picard, pretty much. So
they
Ross,
really
let's get-
need to tie her into something greater before she just feels like a distraction.
Well,
Yeah.
hopefully, with what this last episode was, that this will be the last we will see of her. But here's hoping.
All right.
Let's get this Ross legendary recap.
So-
of the episode.
At the end of the last episode, the Borg have turned a corner and have taken the La Sirena to parts unknown to forge a new path, one that will hopefully not end in extinction, as is the fate of the Borg across the entire multiverse, apparently. Without a ship and their resources, they must still contend with the machinations of Dr. Sung and his desire to cement his place in history as a great legacy. And so he sets out to stop the Europa mission. Dang it, I keep forgetting her damn name. The supervisor.
Talon.
What?
Talon.
Talon. With Talon's help, they are able to divide and conquer. Seven and Raffi head to the Sung. Seven, Raffi, and Rios head to the Sung estate to try and find out what he's been planning there. Meanwhile, Picard hitches a ride with Talon to the Europa complex itself. There, Talon is able to confront Renee, tell her that she is in danger, and briefly take her place as Sung swoops in for a kill. He doses her with a deadly neurotoxin, and she begins to die. But spared that fate, Renee makes it to the launch platform and into space. And just in time, too, because as a backup, Sung has sent a series of drones out to snipe the rocket as it heads into space. With some last-minute tech savviness from Raffi, they're able to stop the drones. Rios hijacks them and shoots them all down. The future is secured, and Sung is left with nothing as he returns home to see the rocket heading into space. He also finds his system deleting itself. as his escaped daughter gives her revenge for her many murdered siblings and gives her father a final farewell. And as she leaves to set out on her own adventures, she receives a strange message. Expecting Q, she looks around in annoyance, but is instead met by a stranger. An older Wesley Crusher, now a traveler, who reveals that Gary Seven and the other supervisors are agents of the Travelers, sent throughout periods in time to protect key points in history. He makes a grand sales pitch and a failed bit of humor to convince her to join him, to travel the vastness of space and time, to witness the wonders of existence. And she accepts. And they disappear in a sheen of light.
We missed you, Wes.
With their mission complete, the rest of the crew gathers at the Picard estate and wonders what they're going to do with the rest of their existence. They're stranded on Earth since they gave the Borg the La Sirena. They have no real way home. And Picard comes to a final fateful decision. He has confronted the memory of his mother and his role in her passing. He holds the skeleton key in his hands, wondering what to do with it. And in the end, he slots it back in its hiding hole in the wall and slots it back in for his younger self to find. And as he walks away from that fateful decision, he finds Q waiting for him in the solarium. And the two share a heartfelt talk as Q congratulates him on overcoming this last great personal hurdle. And Q confesses, at long last, that he is dying, that the time of his existence is coming to an end. The mortality that the Q sought for themselves in Voyager has come. And in his last moments, he wanted, more than anything, for Jean-Luc Picard to be happy. That more than anything else, he cares. And the greatest line and the most simple phrase, "You matter to me." Such a powerful statement, such a wonderful line, so simply but profoundly delivered.
Mm-hmm.
And as a final gift, and as in what is presumably the final moments of his existence, Q transports Picard, Raffi, and Seven back to the future, while Rios elects to stay behind and start a new life with the Doctor and her son.
Called it.
They return to the Stargazer at the moment they left, as the autodestruct countdown is cycling down to its final moments. Picard looks around, sees this familiar moment, but with new perspective. He cancels the autodestruct and looks to the Queen and calls out to their old friend Agnes, who reveals herself as the Borg Queen. She is finally able to tell them why she's there, now that they'll actually believe her, now that the predestination paradox time loop has come full circle. And the Armada jets off to the strange subspace anomaly. As it erupts, the shields absorb the stellar blast, and a strange wormhole has formed to parts unknown. And Girardi says that she requests conditional Federation membership as they research and guard this new orifice. Spouting off many a debate, for sure, but bringing our story to a close. And as the crew gathers at drinks at 10 forward, Guinan shares the last moments of Rios and company in the past, and Picard sets out for his final destination, back to the Picard Vineyard, where I'm brain farting again.
Where he could
Laris.
Where Laris is waiting for him. Her bags are packed, but he makes a final emotional plea for a second chance, and she accepts. Happily ever after.
Eleanor's back.
And Eleanor's back as a final small gift from Q.
God damn it, Q.
And they all lived happily ever after.
No.
Until next season.
I'm going to go first.
No.
Go for it.
Thank you, Ross. So
You
this is I had notes, and honestly, the Q Picard goodbye is it had me tearing up. This Q and Picard, Delancey and Stewart gave a masterclass in character interaction that has been built over 30 years. Q gave his standard, after universe ending paradox. You did it. I always believed in you because, as he did in all good things, it's like, oh, I suppose you're worried about your fish too. um, we didn't get enough Delancey, but we got what we wanted from him, which was a masterful performance as Q. When he is talking to Picard, as Ross said, he uttered those words, "You matter to me." And Q goes on to say that even gods have their favorites, and you were mine. I was like, oh man, like they are like there's four valves of the heart. There went two of them. um, and the interaction with them sitting there talking, Picard finally understanding why Q has tormented him his entire career, why Q does the things that he does, why Q is the way that he is. And it was so beautiful to see them say this goodbye. And something I pointed out that a channel like Trek Culture even missed, that when Picard hugs Q, I'm not saying that a delicate little flower didn't cry and Leia held me. Um, that was the first time they've ever actually hugged, and it was a callback to Cupid, where Q sits in his chair and goes, "How about a big hug?" He got his big hug from Picard. Picard forgave him for all of that torment, understanding that Q did it because he loved Picard, because Picard, as Q always stated, "You're my only friends in this galaxy." um, that was absolutely beautiful. My other was, God, when I saw Will Wheaton's face, Leigh and I screamed. We thought we thought the neighbors were gonna say something, but like we just squealed. And so, as he says, I was long ago known as this once Wesley Crusher. Now I'm just a traveler through time. It's like, oh my God, it's Wes. um, we lost our shit. I did love the connection that the travelers and Gary Seven, the supervisors, they're all interconnected. They're all
are so
in this
fucking cool.
it right. Um, I just there was so much heart tug and heart pull that I told Justin Ross is gonna get, and I told you so, because we kept complaining. Oh man, where was these episodes? Ross, I told you so. It all connects.
Yep.
Um, my final bit here was when they're back on the ship. I was expecting Rios to pull a voyage home and bring the doctor and her child. Instead, he pulled the reverse. He stayed behind,
Thank
and
God.
I I loved Rios' character. Santiago Cabrera could do no wrong. Regardless of what he's done in the season 1 and season 2, he was absolutely brilliant with this role. Um, I will miss his character. Um, it was really something to watch him mature and realize that it's not for him in that century. It's like I'm just there. I'm just a lowly captain. His first mission as a captain, his ship gets taken over and obliterated because they don't know what's going on. So it's like he just lost his ship. Um,
Not once,
so I
twice.
twice, yes, twice, unfortunately. Um, so it was wonderful to see that Wes's return, albeit as Will Wheaton said in his Facebook post, a 2-page cameo of the script. Um, and my last one here was Seven. Callback to when Seven said that Janeway was going to resign to get her into Starfleet. What does Picard do? He doesn't know about this talk, but what does Picard do is that Picard gives Seven a field commission captaincy of the Stargazer, and we have Captain Annika Hansen of the USS Stargazer.
Or Captain 7 of 9.
I'm
Annika.
going
She'll
to
probably go by
Annika.
Annika.
She'll probably go by Annika. That was amazing to see her sit in the captain's chair, and we knew this from Voyager. The woman, she can command, she can delegate. I hope it wasn't a one-off. We do have some sad news that as far as I know, Alison Pill, Elnor's actor, um, a couple others that have confirmed that they are not returning for season 3 of Picard. So this was a send-off to Picard's ragtag team of misfits and the La Serena.
But it doesn't
Um,
mean that they're not going to be into a new series.
Jason and Justin think there's going to be some spin-offs there.
More
This
like
was-
threads for other series to pick up on.
that.
Well, the Gary 7, they're going to do a Gary 7 series easy.
Hey, for all we know, we haven't heard much about Section 31. Watch that premiere next week. This was one of the most emotional season finale shows I've seen in a long time. Not just Trek, but overall. Lucifer hit me hard. TNG All Good Things hit me hard. Q and Picard saying goodbye to each other. Q giving the last thing Q says to Picard is his last words from All Good Things. See you out there. And it's like he's dying, and he just said that, like, don't do this to us. And with a snap of his fingers, all is right in the world, and the trial, presumably, I believe, has ended. So it'll be interesting to see what they do.
Until Junior shows up.
Mm.
And
well, presumably all Q were dead.
No,
yeah,
that's
Yeah.
not at all.
I was just
Q.
Delancey's Q.
Just him. He is dying, not the continuum. Just him.
I thought he had said pretty well early on that they sensed nothing for Continuum. The others had already gone.
No, it was just
Alone,
Q.
that he was alone.
He didn't say anything like that in the finale. But
No,
he
Yeah,
did
no,
say
earlier
that he was dying alone because he's dying and he has no
He's
one
alone,
there
yeah.
with him for him when he's dying.
Now, I would love. Now, this does come with a bit of grain of salt. Delancey is in season 3, but I think that's going to be more or less with how everybody's coming back from TNG. So maybe it's like a flashback or cameo. But Delancey is on for season 3, and they did film this back to back. So we'll see what happens. But as far as goodbyes go in all of television, Q and Picard is up there as one of my all-time favorites. That's my take on Picard. Aptly titled Farewell, and we have said farewell to one of the greatest Star Trek characters in Q.
And Carlos is not here to scream in vain.
So someone else go next, quick. Justin, Ross, who's going?
I don't think Raul. Did you not see it?
Okay.
Yeah, Raul
Justin,
said
go
it was
for
okay that we talked about it. Raul doesn't mind. I asked him earlier.
Don't care.
Okay. I wasn't prepared for that, but fine. Yeah, I mean, a fantastic finale. The whole Picard Q goodbye. You know, tear jerkingly, definitely a tear jerker. That's rare that happens, but yeah, holy shit! And then we get to see Wesley fucking Crusher. You know, Will Wheaton has had to hide that
Oh man,
all season that he was in Picard. With everybody bitching that he wasn't in for next season, which could very well mean he's probably going to be in next season. I mean, yeah, they've already got the Travelers, so hey, what compliments a Q? Travelers.
All right, Justin, give us your thoughts. Come on now.
Let's see here.
We lost Raul.
Okay. Well, that's awkward, but anyway, so
Sorry,
yeah.
hold on. So hope you feel better, Raul.
yeah. Oh,
Yep.
wait a minute.
Have a good night, man.
Yep. Have a good night. Wish you wouldn't told us where you live today. Yeah. So there's a lot to digest in this episode. There's a lot of potential futures in this episode.
I really hope we see more of this different Borg in the future.
Yes, this is awesome. STO is going to have a field day.
Here's where I think. Sorry, Justin. Here's where I think this is going to happen. This is not for the new Borg. This is on Prodigy and Lower Decks going forward.
Ooh.
Well, yeah, but it will be an
They're
STO.
technically set in the Picard time, who knows what Lower Decks could do with that, or even Prodigy.
Yeah, we'll see. Well, I think Prodigy is kind of on its own thing right now.
Yeah, true.
It won't really cross over depending unless you go on later on down the line. But yeah, like I said, we both think it's good. Viewers have said that this could lead to a spin-off series. I mean, we haven't heard anything about Section 31 in ages, and we don't even know if So Yo could actually still do Section 31, unless they have been filming it this entire time in secret and then just going to fucking surprise us with it, which would be very typical of a Section 31 show.
Somebody, sorry, Justin, I keep interrupting. I'm sorry, just it's funny you mentioned that. There was a rumor that Section 31 is going to pop up when we least expect it, like Section 31. The reason we haven't heard anything is because Section 31 is so stinking
Oh
secret.
my god. It's the man. It's the myth.
No,
It's the
the
buffet
worst.
king.
The worst.
I'm
the worst.
The worst is here.
I'm the worst. And happy.
Rush hour buffet. Okay,
So
Italian
that's
It's
why
not a
Carlos-
buffet. It was an Italian restaurant. Not a
for
calzone.
change. For change.
Not an
No,
Olive
that-
Garden, by the way. Not
That's
an Olive
actually. I know. No Olive Gardens in Seattle. It's a crime. I'm
Do you
serious.
eat
Their infinite breadsticks and salad is like amazing. Come on. What's not to love? What's not to
Carlos
love?
said, Carlos, I just want to say you are glowing. It's not the light. You're just like glowing.
It's just it is
Well.
the light actually. It's an ideal
Oh,
lighting situation. Right
the light? Oh, he wasn't assembling IKEA furniture like Ross. Okay.
We're in the middle of Justin's review of Picard finale, so he's
Yeah.
gonna.
Well, I'm finished. So if you want
Oh,
to
you're
go ahead,
okay.
yeah.
Okay.
So,
Can
Carlos-
you give me a 3-second recap, Justin, on what you thought?
I
Oh, yeah.
absolutely loved it. We got to see Wesley Crusher. Just holy shit, fucking awesome. The Q goodbye. That's going to lead in. I think it's going to lead into season 3. Ha!
Why is that a ha? What's the ha
Because
about
you were
that?
the one that said they're not going to bleed season 2 into season 3, and they are.
Well, I mean, ish. I mean, season 2. My point was that season 2 is a complete story, and it was. It was done.
Yeah. It was, but they're going to kind of lead into what happened in season 2 and season 3, which is good as long as it's not a complete.
Well,
jump
until we
over.
know what that story is going to be, I'm not sure we can. Be sure
Something
one
else
way or the other.
called on is we will probably be seeing a Watcher type show, maybe.
Maybe. I was
Uh,
a little amazed to find out that the Watchers were actually who
Part
were
of Gary
behind
Simmons.
the supervisors. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
That one's a bit of a stretch for me. The
but it makes total sense considering
the,
the
the
technology.
travelers always seemed kind of above the
Yeah,
rest
very
of that,
big.
especially when Wesley was getting his sales pitch that the events of the world going on around him didn't matter as much as the journey he was beginning.
Yeah.
And
Well, with the
I don't know.
supervisor, their roles. So go
It's
ahead.
an
Sorry.
interesting twist, but it's a harder sell for me.
Well,
it is a
the-
bit of a hard sell. I agree. Because one of the things that they stipulated about the supervisors back when they introduced Gary 7 was that their whole point was that they found members of the species that was native to the planet and then, raised them and prepared them for their role as a supervisor and then took them back to their home planet. Well, of course, Talon is Romulan. And so it doesn't make sense for a Romulan to be on Earth, particularly in the 21st century.
Yeah, but she had the
Yeah, but that's like fake, though. That was just a disguise.
Yeah. Well, I mean, what she did, it was well explained, but yeah, I mean, I can see having, they're just a supervisor. They're there to observe. They're not there to interfere. They can't directly interfere. They're just there to watch.
Well, no, they're not prohibited from interfering. What they have is a very singular task. In this case,
Right.
it was Rene Picard, but with Gary 7, it was an ongoing set of things to keep Earth from, basically destroying itself. Um, so, so they're not non-interventionists; they're just very specific interventionists.
Right. But it's going to be good to see how this if they do a show. I hope they do the show because I mean, like we were talking about before you got here, we still have no idea what the Section 31 show is going to do, if it's going to come up at all, unless it pops up magically, like Greg was thinking. Um, we haven't heard anything about Section 31 at all.
Well,
anything's possible considering the rate that all these shows are coming out.
Yeah.
No, I think anything's possible now that they're winding up Picard in season 3. So,
right, they'll have at least another slot open for another show because there is an odd gap that's coming up, and I think it's after Prodigy, and it goes on to after Prodigy is done this next time around. I think Lower Decks is 2023.
Lower Decks is going to be this summer. Then Picard season 3 is due out February next year, I believe. February 8th, March.
So after Prodigy this year, we're going to have a lull until Picard season 3. So maybe they'll have a surprise.
Do we know when Discovery season 5 is?
They're in
They start filming next month. They start filming next month, don't they?
Yeah, they're starting filming next month. So if we go by past timetables, probably late 2023.
Wow. Well, maybe sooner because there's the COVID protocols aren't as won't delay them as much.
Yeah. Well, it was
presumably.
So let's go ahead here and get on topic real quick. Carlos, what did you think of the Picard finale?
Okay, well, have the rest of you weighed in?
Oh yeah.
Ross always goes last.
Oh, okay. Of course, you get to go last, Ross. Where did you come in on it, Craig?
I went first.
No, what was your
Justin
opinion?
Did?
No, Greg went first.
Okay, so what did you think,
second.
Greg? Just a quick recap.
Oh, I was in tears. The Q Picard goodbye, their interaction, had me crying. I admitted it. I love the goodbye. Q acknowledging that, how Ross eloquently put it, and how he said, "You mattered to me," that was it. And Picard giving Q his big hug he asked for so many years ago, and that Picard acknowledging that basically hit Picard saying, "I forgive you." And yeah, it was beautifully done with those two. I lost my shit when I saw Will Wheaton on screen. I was like, Wes is back. I don't care if it was for a minute. We got him back. And of course, Picard does, he gives Seven a captaincy, a field commission real quick to Captain Annika Hansen of the USS Stargazer. I love that. I hope it sticks. So yeah, that was pretty much what I thought. I loved it.
It better stick.
Okay, so here's where I'm weighing in. I've been giving this a lot of thought over the last several weeks because there is so much to love about Picard, honestly. And, I like a lot of the story. I like a lot of the callbacks to different parts of Trek lore. A lot to like. But I'm also finding there's a lot that's kind of problematic for me. The big one is that Jean-Luc Picard really does not drive the story in this season very much. He does sort of big picture because it's all about like him coming to terms with his mother's death and so forth. But in terms of like on an episode by episode story basis, a lot of what he does is like he's running away or he's waiting somewhere, and that's a problem for me. It's a problem, in any kind of storytelling when your protagonist is always reacting to things instead of driving the story forward, and that is a problem. I also think it's a waste of Patrick Stewart. I know that Picard aging is one of the themes of this series, and I'm totally on board with that. But he just seemed very frail and very reactive to things in this season. That I have a problem with that. It's a very basic sort of storytelling problem that they put forth. Not to mention the fact that all the other characters kind of get short shrift too, except Girardi, obviously. But Seven and Rafi for several episodes are basically put in one or two scenes and then things move on. I feel like their performance in the last two episodes were pretty good, so no problem with that there. Rios' storyline, I guess they telegraphed that this was going to happen several episodes ago, so it was not a surprise. But it just felt like a kind of a bummer. I mean, I get he's happy, but like he was a really great character, and yet I can't argue with the logic of it because he's like, well, I'm a guy who was alone on a freighter with 5 different holographic versions of himself. So yeah, he's kind of lonely, and now he's not, and that's where he's going to find his happiness. I do have to wonder though. He obviously took a very active role in the 21st century, so it makes me wonder, like, how much history did he change? Even if it was something small like medical stuff, it's still like lives might have been saved by him that would have been ended if he hadn't been there. So, and that could have changed.
Was a causal
history.
loop though.
Yeah, I guess. I mean,
It all started with the Borg showing up, Girardi's Borg, and then sending them back in time so that they could come back at that time and help the Borg stop that big subspace fissure that popped out of nowhere.
Yeah, whatever the hell that was.
Nice big thread for something new to
conduit.
Yes.
Yeah, well, I mean, I know what they say it is, but the
it just ended. It ended.
It is.
Weird.
It's a weird ending because it's like if it's supposed to be this like galaxy event, galactic event. I think that's the expression that Rafi used. It's like, how come we only hear about it like at the very end? Like those are pretty big stakes, but they occupy this much time out of one episode out of a 10 episode season.
And you gotta wonder what could kill Q.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's a whole other thing too, and maybe I don't know if they'll ever go there. Yeah, the whole issue of like, how does an omnipotent being die? Like he's clearly running out of power because he makes this whole big deal about how he only has just enough to send them home, and not to mention the part about like if Borg Queen Girardi has been around for the last 400 years, where the hell was she? And how did she not change the rest of the Borg who ended up, attacking Wolf 359 and assimilating Picard and Seven and God knows who else? Like, where was she in the 400 years? If the whole point of this causal loop is to get us back on track, that means she must have been somewhere for the last 400 years.
She was off doing altruistic Borg things, waiting for the Prime Borg to be defeated.
Okay, I mean, I can accept that, but it's just a weird sort of dangling plot thread.
Probably that are part of the galaxy where no Borg was. I mean, I can see that happening. But maybe they'll get it. Maybe we won't.
Well, 400 years is a long time, so
well,
I just
remember
it makes me wonder.
Her Borg ship came through a temporal rift.
Yeah, I know. It's just a big dangling plot line, and the whole idea that Guinan had that picture of Rios like forever, like as long as she's known Picard. I mean, I kind of like the way they dealt with it in terms of her like, you're smarter than you are observant, kind of a thing that she said to Picard. Like I said, I think there was a lot to like in this whole season of Picard, but it definitely had pacing issues within episodes, between episodes. It's like they had all the right puzzle pieces, but the way they put them together
I
was.
just either disjointed or they pulled an episode that would make it all make
I don't.
sense.
I don't think they pulled an episode. Everything
It,
did
it
make sense. It just made sense really
it did
late, and
feel a little bit rushed in places that it. And one thing that really disappointed me most about it is the fact that so many of the characters aren't coming back for season 3.
I know it's like we get Elnor back, and then we get no more Elnor. I mean, he did make a couple of appearances, like as a hologram, in.
We got Soji for the premiere, but she's not coming back either.
I know. So,
Yeah,
unless
Fiona,
they
too.
are making a Watcher series, which has its own potential problems as well, but it could be, I guess, the Assignment Earth series that never was, except that it may not be set on Earth. I mean, it is about the travelers and about the supervisors.
Assignment Universe.
Maybe we'll see. I mean, I hope they do something with her because she's a really great actor. She had a great character, even in this season, where it wasn't really the character we knew. It was just the character that we knew was based on, sort of, in the very beginning. The whole Project Con thing with Sung was an interesting little.
They're retconning the eugenics wars.
Yeah, they are. They mentioned them specifically, and
also in Strange New Worlds, they did the same thing.
Yeah.
It's like
which they kind of have to do. I think if they're going to, because the eugenic wars play a pretty important role in Star Trek canon history, and to the extent that Star Trek has always sort of, because of time travel, kind of crossed paths with actual history. No one expected that it would still be around, 57 years later. So I'm okay with the retcon, and I think the way they explained it in Strange New Worlds kind of makes sense, that it was really a series of events starting like basically with Donald Trump going through the eugenic wars, and then ultimately, the nuclear conflict, and that all of that sort of got bunched together, what they call World War III. What's that, Justin?
You have a visitor in the background.
Oh, yes, that's a dog. I am dog sitting this weekend.
Aw.
Yes, he's a very big puppy, and he's just a year old, and he's already close to 100 pounds. So
you can hear him drink. That's why.
There he is.
Oh, that's a big puppers.
He is.
You almost ride him.
Yeah, he's very. He's half Saint Bernard, and the other half, I think, is maybe a Labrador.
Ooh,
but it makes him
a big boy.
Yeah, he's a big boy. But he's a very sweet dog. He likes people. Anyway, so I think that kind of the retconning of Star Trek history kind of needed to be done. I'm okay with the way that they're doing it. They're not making it directly conflicting, but they're sort of like combining things and twisting around a little bit so that it still makes sense.
Which is good. It needed to happen. I agree with you there. It needed to happen at some point because, I mean, here we are past 1996. Here, and, they're trying to keep the histories kind of, I guess, similar now. So we'll see. I wonder what else they're going to change.
Well, I mean, it's clear that because we don't know actually that it's a reference to him making a con. It may be called Project Con because it's building on what happened with Con and the eugenics wars and leading directly into what his descendant does in creating the augments, as we saw in Enterprise. So that's my guess is how that kind of
leads out
now is going to look. Yeah.
Which is okay. I'm happy that they fixed it. So, complainers can cry more. They're going to cry. Someone showed the photo of it. And one of the groups I was overseeing.
Well, yeah, but what is there to cry about?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I'm not sure that there's anything really worth crying about because they're making a lot of assumptions about what it means that may not be known. Yes, I do indeed. I did want to address the Q thing because, as you know, as you recall, I was not the biggest fan of them bringing Q back. And I think what they did is they followed my advice, which was don't bring back ridiculous Q. And they didn't. We didn't see ridiculous Q. We saw
Trickster Q.
Trickster Q and Mortal Q. And the line that he said about, like, I love the way that Picard said to him, well, why me? And his answer was basically, even gods have their favorites, which is true, and it makes sense. It's like there doesn't have to be a logical reason. For whatever reason, something about Picard stood out to him, hence his fascination with him over all the now decades and, well, now centuries. But I found the scene between them really touching. I think I shed a few tears as well, Greg, because it was really like it was the end of Ridiculous Q, which I was never a fan of Ridiculous Q, but I was a fan of the concept, the science fiction concept of Q, and which is why I think some of Q episodes were great because they really explored that, particularly the one where he, introduced them to the Borg, and you begin to realize that he was doing that to help humanity. Anyway, I thought it was a really beautiful conclusion to their storyline. I was pretty much expecting them to kiss. I was ready for a kiss. All we got was a hug, but that's still important. And it was, you could tell they were both. It was this really wonderful dramatic moment of both sort of forgiveness and healing and understanding that I thought was great, and plus I'm glad that he saved Elnor, because how I love Elnor, and I kind of wanted to DM Travis to find out what he thought about it all.
He raged when Elnor got killed, not once but twice.
Yeah, twice, 2 times. But we still got more of them than you might have expected in this season.
And
I was a big fan of hologram.
Hollow Elnor was badass.
Yeah,
he was.
As
But
the
real
East
Elnor was badass too. I've always loved Elnor, and if he doesn't come back, and it looks like I guess
He
not.
got into a fucking sword fight with the Borg Queen.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
Who else has done that?
But
No
I
way.
just hope they bring him back in some way, because he's just too great a character.
Well,
Even
that's
if it's
why
not,
On a whole, Worf technically got into a sword fight. He
Not
used
with
his
the not with the
mek'leth.
Queen. With the
No, but
Borg,
he did.
but not the Queen.
yeah, it doesn't count. This was a queen.
yeah.
This was a queen. I
Sorry,
think
the
it's
beauty don't count. But I have also heard rumors that a Stargazer eccentric show might be in the
Okay,
works.
that-
Because,
well,
That's
at
too
this point,
much.
I think that's more wishful
Well,
thinking than
Perfect
than
combine
a
it with,
rumor. But
but
it makes sense. I will agree with you that it
But-
makes sense.
if you combine it with a Section 31 show, considering 7 and 9's unique history and background and all things.
I'm still insisting that the Section 31 show is going to take place during the Dominion War.
That is a good. That I would love that actually.
No,
I
because
would
we've
love
already been there, done that.
we talked about that at the season 3 end of Discovery. It's been a while.
But
Have we talked, or have you all talked about what's the name of the movie? Everything Everywhere, All at Once.
I haven't been able to see it yet, but it is something I do
Oh.
want to see and talk about.
on my bucket
It
list.
is so good, and Michelle Yeoh is just phenomenal in it. And it's this like worldwide phenomenon, which I'm loving that's happening, because in some ways it's a very sort of indie movie kind of a feel, but it's like super powerful. And by the way, Jamie Lee Curtis is brilliant in this movie, brilliant. So I would really encourage you to see it.
Too much far off a topic. Do you have anything else?
Yeah. I was going to end on that, just saying that once you all get a chance to see it, we definitely should talk about it. So
It's on my bucket list. Ross, have you won yet for Picard?
No, he is not.
No, it is now time for Ross.
Oh boy.
Bring it home, Ross.
Oh man, this was a jumbled episode. There was so much going on all at once. I feel like they probably could have stretched this out to make 2 episodes.
They
Just
probably should have.
the resolution of the main conflict ended so quickly.
It was like in the first 20 minutes.
Yeah.
If not sooner. That was
I mean,
also
going
a
back to the
pacing
last
problem.
episode, I feel like Agnes and the Queen should have stuck around to at least help out to make sure that they finished what they started before jetting off into the galaxy to start a brand new benevolent collective. You want to start on a clean slate? Make sure the timeline is fixed before you leave.
It was, yeah, I had a problem with that. They could have stretched it.
I don't. They pretty much have written off so much to the whole sort of multi-timeline awareness of the queens. This was just part of the same thing.
I know, but the
I see your
resolution was
point.
great. Soong getting his comeuppance from his own daughter was also great. Seeing Will Wheaton as a traveler again was wonderful. Getting that tying the travelers into the supervisors was also really good. I liked that a lot.
Yeah, that was a surprise.
The epilogues at the end was also really rapid fire. Getting the end of Rios from Guinan was good. Getting seeing Elnor again, seeing him taste Romulan ale for the first time,
Turning his nose up at and you're like, oh, no,
I almost expected them to pull a Data where he's like, "That's revolting." More? Yes,
Please.
and Picard's mending with Laris and finally opening himself up to a relationship for the first time ever. It was so good to see. I'm glad that she said yes. That was beautiful. And Q's farewell. I nearly teared up just in the recap. Just thinking about that scene again, it was so beautiful. It was absolutely beautiful. The heartfeltness and the power of John Delancey's performance was incredible.
Yeah, you really felt
there
what
was
he felt for Picard.
There was an earnestness in that. And it's an interesting contrast to the desperation that he had when he in the second episode when he was talking to Picard, how everything came full circle. That sinister, this is a penance for what? I think you know. That almost that aggressiveness from Q. He needed Picard to understand, and quickly, because there was no time left. And for a being that has been timeless up to that point, no wonder he slapped him in the face, Will Smith style.
Yeah. Yeah, good point.
Oh, God.
This was a powerful, if jumbled, episode. Certainly not the best season finale, but a very good one.
I read the Gizmodo review of this episode, and they described it as unhinged. And then we're quick to say we can't really say if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but it was unhinged. And I kind of feel the same way. It's like I come away with pretty positive thoughts about it. Because of just all the stuff that happened that I've kind of always wanted to see or learn. But at the same time, from some storytelling aspects, I feel it was just, there were some very deep flaws. Can't hear you, Justin.
Justin, you're muted.
There you go. It felt very rushed. It felt like what should have been a 2-part finale, was cut short, where it really needed to be more spread out. So I agree with you that the more Queen resolution should have been on a finale episode. they should have just stuck around and make sure everything went out. I mean,
Well, and
it,
given the fact that we basically had guessed, everyone had basically guessed that the Borg Queen was Girardi, like ages ago. So the
It was
fact that that was
telegraphed in the
not,
first episode.
yeah, we
it
pretty
really
much
was.
figured it out.
So given the fact that that was,
Foreshadowed.
yeah, I think telegraphed.
Foreshadowed.
I think
Hold on.
telegraphed is a better.
Interlude.
Yeah,
Ejection.
I feel like
Words
telegraphed is a much
have precise
is a better
meanings
description,
and
frankly.
implications. Telegraphed.
I think they
If-
telegraphed it. I think they telegraphed it.
It's okay, Ross. They're there. They're there. Here,
Foreshadowed.
I'll just pat you on the head.
The
Where's your
seeds
head?
were there. Yes, we predicted it quite easily.
Like I called it episode 1 that Girardi was the queen. That we
I
saw
believe
it.
that you. I believe that you did, and I didn't
Yeah,
disagree
but
with you, but I also kind of wanted to see what was.
I mean, it was so cut and easy. I mean, especially after we got to see Girardi interact with the queen later on, exactly what was going to happen.
Oh
I was
yeah,
just
once we saw that, it was pretty obvious.
yeah, it was
Yeah.
pretty much cut and dry after that.
But at that point, it was a matter of that we wanted to know how.
Yes, yes.
And the fact that she held off the queen for so long is incredible. No wonder that they kind of just merged at the end.
Yeah, it was a negotiation.
Yeah, wasn't really much of a choice.
I think, and this is an interesting theme that we're seeing in Star Trek across the board in all its different incarnations, and they use this word a lot in Picard. They used it a ton in Discovery. We see it. I don't think they use the word in Lower Decks or Prodigy, but it's definitely a theme there as well, and that's the idea of connection. And family, and in ways that we haven't seen using those terms in Star Trek before, even though those themes were always there. I would argue have always been there with Star Trek, but now we're seeing it very explicitly, and frankly, in the world we live in today, the more people that we have who I hope are seeking connection, it's a very relevant theme for today.
Yeah, and solely needed considering all the hate that's been going on between groups and factions of people. That could very well lead up to a civil war, like we saw telegraphed in Strange New Worlds. That could very easily happen today. But yeah, so I guess that's enough on the card. We've
Yep.
already covered other topics. Did we want to let Carlos give his quick take on Strange New Worlds since he was not
Absolutely.
here?
Oh, okay. So you guys already talked about it.
Yep.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
was
we
a-
already went through Strange
Okay.
World.
Can you give me each of you like a quick recap on what your thoughts were?
How about
Fucking
you give us
awesome.
So good. So good. They expertly brought everything that they built up from The Cage and season 2 of Discovery into this series, and are making a new series that
Updated.
Oh,
has the essence of TOS.
Yes, the essence, but the sensibilities of modern
Today.
storytelling, which is I think we saw that really in season 2 of Discovery. And there's something about, I just want to give huge praise to Anson Mount, because honestly, more than anyone else in Star Trek history, he is really leading a rebirth of this franchise. As much as I like Michael Burnham, and I do, sorry, Greg, it's really Anson Mount who's just strong sense of leadership as Captain Kirk, and as an actor,
Pike.
as an ambassador of Pike, as an ambassador for Star Trek. I saw him in STLV when he appeared there 3 years ago, and it's clear he loves this franchise. It's clear that he loves the character he's playing, and he brings to it a real sense of both gravitas and humor that is very difficult to pull off. Um, and frankly, the cast that they've built out for this show is, I've always been a critic of people who complain about how we barely know the bridge crew on Discovery and blah, blah, blah. And I feel like that's quite a bit of an overstatement. I think there's a lot we know about the bridge crew, but I feel like in one episode, we know these people
Yes.
in a way that we don't know the crew of Discovery.
Mine is Hammer. Mine is the engineering Sam Kirk. Well, we kind of know Sam Kirk, but not this Sam Kirk.
Well, this is Kirk's uncle, right? The one who ends up getting killed
His
with the
brother.
jelly thing. Yeah. So that was an interesting sort of bait and switch, which I thought was cool. And
I don't
you
know why
notice how
it'd be
much
bait. We know that James Kirk is coming in season 2.
Yeah, that's my point. Is that when they say Kirk, we did not. They know why we were interested in seeing who this was. So I use the term bait and switch as lovingly. It's not a criticism. It's just I like the way they kind of surprised us with who it was. So I feel like the characters really form a strong spine for this whole show. And that definitely you get this sense of Pike as their leader and Anson Mount as the actor's leader. I'm super excited to see where it goes from here. The people whom I know who've had a chance to see the first 5 episodes, which Paramount made available. I know, I hate them too. But at the same time, I respect their opinions and they are really loving it. I have a friend at work who is also a big Star Trek fan, and we spent a good 15 minutes talking about it on Friday.
Carlos, your friends that have seen the first 5, do they know how many episodes total are in this first season?
I do not know the answer to that. I just know this is pretty common right now with a lot of streaming series. Is that they make the first 5 episodes or so available to critics. Usually, if they have a lot of faith in the show, they do that. If they don't have a lot of faith in the show, they'll do it one episode at a time. So the fact that they put out 5 at once is a pretty good sign of Paramount's confidence in this show.
On that list. Damn.
Yeah.
You do it, Ross.
One last thing I want to say about the characters that says a lot about just the acting and the writing for this show is Uhura. Like, they captured Uhura. In fact, most of what we learned about Uhura that was really powerful in this episode actually technically happened off screen. We only saw the beginning and the end when the alien goes into the turbo lift with her and she just starts talking to him, and then we see them several minutes later when they come out. And it's like, but everything that she said, it was pure Uhura. And I feel like Nichelle Nichols was born too early, because if she had the same kinds of writers with the same kinds of sensibilities who are as dedicated to making this character a real person instead of, as it was for so long, basically a glorified telephone operator.
As I said before in the episode, we shouldn't downplay her impact in that role.
Yeah, I mean, no, it's a big impact, and a lot of it, frankly, is because of Nichelle Nichols. The presence that she brought into that role on the original series, and certainly into the movies. But the original series, in the 60s, it was tokenism, but she turned it into so much more than that, and we see the immediate effects of that in now in the 21st century with this new actor playing the same role, and it's but very clearly an homage to what Nichelle Nichols really turned that role into in the broad arc of the franchise.
But very well.
Yeah. So anyway, I just feel like they did that really. That to me, I'm not sure why we don't have the same kind of writing in Discovery. And again, I love Discovery, but what we got here was a really well paced episode, a great story, uh, laying down of longer term storylines, um,
With
and
constant without the bullshit of the same arc, multiple episodes. The way they're doing it this time is like someone dies, it's going to carry over in the next episode. It's not going to be
sure,
completely.
right, they're not doing a reset at the end of every episode, but it is episodic, and I think that's a good kind of compromise between fully episodic like we saw in the original series in TNG and serialized as we've seen in Discovery and Picard and even DS9 in its later seasons. So it's a good. I think they're striking the right balance between those two things, and I hope that it informs some of the writing in Discovery as well, because I just feel like they're being very economical and yet powerful with the way that they're treating these characters, and I'd like to see that more throughout Star Trek.
Especially Discovery, because I said something similar earlier. It's like the show is okay for what it is, but they could do more with the way they introduce their characters, or give people backstory. So we know them, but we don't know them all that well. They I really hope they take some notes from how well Strange New Worlds is doing. I can't wait to see what they got going next, because the first episode was holy shit.
Yeah, I feel like that the reason we're seeing that, or the reason it works so well in Strange New Worlds, is actually because of the episodic nature of the show. It's like, because in a serialized show, you're always thinking big picture, like the big storylines for an entire season, and it's easy to get so invested in making those storylines work as storylines that it's easy to lose track of individual characters. And with an episodic series, you have a beginning, a middle, and an end all within the space of one episode, and so you're going to make the most of each element of a story as you can, and that includes, I think, characters, and that's why you're seeing such powerfully drawn ones in so little amount of time, because the writers don't have to worry about making an entire season work on an episode by episode basis. They're really coming up with broad themes, but the stories are very discrete.
Yep.
All right.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's see. I think that's all of our main topics. So we should move on to what we've been watching. Or have you been not?
Sounds like a
Let
plan.
Ross do his job, Justin.
Hey, you guys have been doing a good job tonight. I was a little late after all. Carlos, if you missed it, I was defeated by furniture tonight.
So
I know. I sent you a Bible verse about it.
Yes, you did. That was good. That was very well played. So, Carlos, how about you lead off tonight? What have you been watching?
Oh gosh, I have been trying to catch up on so many things. So I've been watching multiple episodes of Moon Knight. I have been what else? Like the rest of the planet, I binged Heartstopper and loved it on Netflix. The season finale of season 6 of Outlander, which of course, as you may know, is executive produced by Ron Moore, who of course is one of the best Star Trek producers ever, plus Battlestar Galactica. What else have I watched? Of course, This Is Us. I'm only one episode behind on that one. Yeah, I think that's all I can think of. Yeah, I'm trying to do a lot of catch up.
All right.
Thank you.
Greg.
Oh, wait!
Oh.
I want to say one more.
Uh-oh.
So I have been. I don't know if any of you've seen the series. I think it's in season 4 now, called Britannia. It is. It's made in England. It originally showed. It's kind of bounced around in different streaming platforms here in the United States over the years. Um, I think it was on Amazon Prime originally. Then Amazon Prime lost it. It moved to Epix, which is where it lives now. And of course, I don't subscribe to Epix, except now I do because I wanted to see the season 4 of Britannia, and I got they were running this really like $15 for 6 months um, special on Epix, and I think I can get it to watch everything on Epix I need to in 6 months. So that's good. But I say this only to get to the point, which is that there's this show, they're only a couple episodes in, called Billy the Kid on Epix, and I'm pretty impressed with this show. Um, it's the story of Billy the Kid. It starts out with him as a kid, as a little boy, and you see him develop into eventually sort of the principled outlaw that he was supposed to have been. And the actor who's playing him is frankly amazing. And of course, and I think we may have talked about this before in the past, because I know I complain about this a lot. He was so great that I was like, he's got to be British. He's got to be British. Sure enough, he's British. He's done actually a lot of work. He's pretty. I think his name's Tom Bryant, or something like that. Anyway, it's a show worth checking out. Even if you don't subscribe to Epix, they let you watch, I think, the first 3 episodes for free without a subscription. You can check it out. I'd highly recommend it. I think it's been pretty good, and yeah, just proving again that American actors, man, they just don't get training. Young ones especially, and that's why you see all of these.
Okay, boomer.
It's not about being
He's
a boomer,
not
dude.
wrong.
It's
I know.
it's a fact, it's just the fact that, and I can swear to this because I've cast 3 movies, and I will tell you that young American actors basically suck as a whole. They don't have a lot of experience. They have even less training. When you happen across one who's really good, you hire them because they're so rare. But over in England, almost all of the working young actors over there are highly trained, both in theater and in television and film, and they are worth every penny they get paid. And so I will end my rant about young American actors, but really as a profession, this country's got to do a lot better than just relying on these young actors' looks to sell the series, because it's obviously not working, because they're finding just as good looking actors from England who, once they get their American accent down, are pretty phenomenal.
I raise you Zendaya, sir.
And was that a boomer thing?
It might have been.
All right, thank you, Carlos. Greg, what you been watching this week?
Oh god, just with all the shows that are out, but Moon Knight, Halo, Picard, Strange New Worlds, that's pretty much taking it up. I did catch that Cobra Kai season 5 will be released early September instead of January of next year.
Yay!
And watching, finally able to start watching. Oh, that's what I did watch. Sorry, Attack on Titan season 4 part 2 has ended, and holy shit! They're doing a 3rd part season 4. It is officially the last part. It's due out next year, but the way they ended this part, I'm just like, oh damn! Like they're not holding back. They know it's well as, oh yeah, we're ending it. Okay, we're gonna completely fuck your head up, and that's what they're doing. So this it ended really well. Set up season 4 part 3, and yeah, looking forward to that.
That Cobra Kai trailer, holy shit!
Yes,
I have not seen it.
Oh my god, Carlos, go watch it right now.
yeah, Cobra Kai season 5.
All right, thank you, Greg.
Mhm.
Justin, what have you been watching?
Let's see. Well, obviously Moon Knight, Halo, which was a complete waste of an episode to see.
Told you.
I kind of I could have missed that one and been okay. Strange New Worlds, Star Trek Picard, and all the non YouTube videos. I haven't really watched much else this week. It's been kind of a busy week with doctor's appointments and whatnot, and getting everything going. So yeah,
Oh, thank you, Justin.
Mm.
As for me, well, not much this week, actually. It's been quite hectic, not a lot of free time. But one notable event of this week was Warhammer Fest, an annual event where Games Workshop releases a bunch of previews for their biggest upcoming releases. Thursday and Friday Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday were the previews for Warhammer 40k, Age of Sigmar, and their small skirmish and small box games like the Lord of the Rings tabletop game.
Mhm.
But Saturday has been a day-long reveal of their brand new game, Warhammer: The Horus Heresy, with a whole bunch of reveals from the pivotal conflict of the Warhammer 40k setting. And it's been a lot of fun to watch the reactions. I'm not sure if I'm going to get into the game myself, as I find Space Marines to be a little on the boring side. I'm a Xenos guy after all. But it's been a lot of fun to see the collective joy of a fandom as a lot of new things are announced and people getting excited for something amid the very dark times that we currently live in. So yeah, that's being for the week.
All right. Are we skipping Fuller Man tonight, or?
I think so. It's getting late, and without Sun, it's just not the same.
Yeah,
That's true. Where is Sun tonight?
She's taking a break.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Well, I would have loved to have heard her opinions on Picard and Strange New Worlds. So I guess I can write her and ask her.
There you go.
But then the world will miss it. The world misses you, son.
You're
Yes,
loved it.
indeed. We do miss you. All right, well, that will bring our episode to a close. Thank you guys so much for watching and hanging out and geeking out with us tonight. We appreciate you. We love you, and thank you. We'll see you again next week for more of Star Trek, Halo, Moon Knight, and whatever else that we're geeking out about. So have a good weekend, have a good night, and we'll see you again soon.
And hopefully
And
we are all
without-
on time next week. Yep.
And without Sun, I will say it then. Remember, you are all loved and appreciated for just you being you. And until next time, remember to live, to love, and to play every day. Play us out, Justin.